There are a lot of things to like about this presentation that you're about to see by Mary Kay Slowikowski. Wonderful lady, great sense of humor. But the two messages that strike me are that, first, it's important to be adaptable. It's always important to be open to change, and not for change's sake, but we have to be willing to change in our lives so that we can make our lives better, both personally and spiritually, and makes lives better for others when we're open and willing to change. The second thing is that you get a sense in her presentation of what a great spirit of appreciation she has for the many gifts that have been entrusted to her care. You get a sense that's why she's been willing to change. She looks at life as a great holy gift, and the things that come through this life, through this journey, are gifts on that journey. And she has a great spirit of appreciation for all those things. And for us in St. Mary's Foundation, it's one of the lessons that we try to teach and to live out, because it's impossible for people to really understand financial generosity if they aren't truly appreciative for their lives and for the many powerful things that have been entrusted to their care. So it's a chance for us through this video to remind people that we are here at St. Mary's Foundation, and that the money contributed to the foundation serves people at some of their most vulnerable times. So we hope that you enjoy this presentation by Mary Kay Slowikowski, who spoke here at St. Mary's at our Senior Day, and we hope that it is as inspiring to you as it was to us in the foundation. Thank you.
Our first speaker, you are in for a treat. Mary Kay Slowikowski is an internationally known speaker and trainer, and the first female to appear nationally on her own Emmy-nominated PBS special. Mary Kay is a delight, and I just had a wonderful conversation with her this morning, learning more and more about her. And I already feel like I know her. And she was one that you met when you came in. So I'm telling you, you're in for a real treat. She is going to speak today on Renew Your Spirit. So without further ado, let's let Mary Kay come and enlighten us. Mary Kay?
Turn me on. Thank you. That's great. Okay. I wanted to bring my notes right up here so I can be right with you. And also make sure that you take out a pen or pencil, because we're going to have you write some things. I think you've got a pen. That's good. I just wanted to help you a little bit with that last name, Slowikowski. My mother and father were born in County Sligo, Ireland. So I was a Brennan, and I met Norbert Stanley Slowikowski. And my father loved him, and my mother. And I was teaching fifth graders. So I had come into the fifth grade, and in September I put the name Brennan up on the board. And the children said, "Oh, Miss Brennan, Miss Brennan." And I told them then in October that I was going to be married. And I invited them all to the wedding. It was right next door in St. Felicitas Parish. That's where I was born and raised, and here I was back teaching there. And but I said I had 50 children in my fifth grade. And I said to them, I said, now you have to be very good when you come to the church, you know, because this is special for me, the wedding. All 50 of them showed up at the wedding. And they were wonderful. They were wonderful. And so after the honeymoon, I came back and I thanked them for being so good at the wedding. And I put my name up on the board, my new name, Mrs. Slowikowski. And they said, "Why did you do that?" We can't even say that name. What is that? We like Brennan. We don't want Slowikowski or whatever. They were making fun of it, you know. And they went on and on. They were so negative. And finally, one little boy in the back of the room got up and he said, "I know how we're going to remember her." And I said, "Good boy." He said, "Yes, that name." He said, "We'll just think of you as slow as a cow on skis." So I flunked him. Those were the days you could flunk them all, you know, it was wonderful. Get rid of all of them. So just wanted to introduce that to you, just if you can remember the name Slow as a Cow on Skis. Now, we're going to get right to work. Let's go. The very first page, or the first, I have a big page, but you have it right there on the side so that you can take notes. It's who are you? And I've got 3 things, the essence of who you are. And up on the top, I have the driving forces or energizers. And driving forces are natural motivators in your life. Natural motivators. It's what motivates you. And I'm going to help you a little bit later in the next talk, show you some of those natural motivators, what motivate you. Now, your performance is grounded in the skillful management of your energy. Most of us worry that our time needs to be managed more effectively. But now we look at, oh, and I forgot to thank you. It's more of our energy level. So there we have it, the driving forces. And the essence of who you are. The essence of who you are is your self-image, your self-concept, and your self-esteem. That's the essence of who you are. Now, self-image means how I see myself in a mirror. How I see myself in a mirror. Am I too tall? Am I too fat? Am I too thin? How do I look? That's your self-image. Your self-concept in the essence of who you are means I can skills. And that is I can bake a lasagna or I can work as a volunteer. That's what builds self-concept. And self-esteem is how lovable am I? How lovable am I? So I want to give you a little homework assignment with that self-esteem. I want you to compliment 3 people in the next week, and one should be someone you don't care for. Now, so don't do it today. You might make them feel bad, you know. They'll know what you're doing. But that's how we build self-esteem. Now, self-image, how I see myself. After I had the 3 children, the first 3, I kind of became a size 18. And I stayed like that, and I had a hard time. And so finally, when that youngest, he was 12, was into junior high, I had just started my business. I said to myself, I've got to do something about this. So I was in Weight Watchers, and I was in Tops, and I was in every group possible to get the weight off, and it would come off, then it would come back on. So I knew I had to get into some kind of physical activity. So at that time, I bought Jim Fixx's book on running. God rest his soul. You know, he died when he was out running one day. That's a true story. But I just did what he said. He said, walk a little, run a little, walk a little, run a little, and you'll be able to jog a mile after you get started. Only in a month's time, you'll be able to jog a mile. So I went out there and I was walking a little, running a little, walking a little, walking a little, walking a little, then running a little. And my husband, who was a great track star in the 60s, he ran a 4-minute, 12-second mile for the Catholic League in Chicago. Wonderful runner. He had stayed away from running too, but he decided to come back, and so he ran right down the road past me. But I just went at my own pace. Finally, after a month, I could jog a mile, and I was so proud of myself. And then after a few more weeks, I began to feel a little tired. So I went back to the book, and the book said, you're going to feel very good right now. I said, good. Then I just didn't feel good at all, and I thought it was starting this business of mine. Maybe that was it. It was too much. So my husband said, he had never felt better. You men, you're always better than we women. Anyway, so he said he'd never felt better. And so he said I should go to the hospital or the doctor and get blood checked. Maybe I'm a little anemic. So I went over to the hospital and I got my blood checked. And the next day the nurse called me. And she said, Mrs. Slowikowski, we want to congratulate you. You're going to have a baby. I said, I can't have a baby. I'm sure God, you know how we bring God into it. God does not want this now in my life. My baby is 12 years old and we've just come through Little League together. And besides, I don't have a crib.